I have good news and bad news, and I mean it. Stay through the video because you want to see both the good and the bad. First off, let's go with the good news. You know what? Ammo prices are down. Not to what they were just a few years ago, not even close, but it's kind of like the new normal, and they're actually down for that new normal. That's great. Now, with that, it's a perfect time to practice, to drill and train, because when crap hits the fan, because we're not in crap hits the fan yet, by the way, but when we get there, good luck with the ammo. It's not going to be so much available. But when we get there, you're not going to have the money or the time or the extra ammo to be able to drill and train. So do that now. Get as much ammo as you possibly can. All right, the bad news we'll get to in just a moment. But first, I want to show you the probable 6 different types of ammos you're going to want to pick up. And of course, if you don't have the firearm to match those, you may want to consider getting that firearm as well. So let's go ahead and look at the 6 ammos ranging from the shortest range to the longest range. First, the 12-gauge shotgun. Absolutely dependable, trustworthy. For birdshot, lethal up to about 25 yards. And this is my first pick. It is the perfect beginner gun, in my opinion. I mean, 12-gauge does have a kick to it, so a lot of people may not like that. But up to 25 yards, that's perfect for most homes. Most rooms up to 25 yards. And when we talk about the different types of rounds that we're going to see in a few minutes, the 12-gauge, especially the birdshot, is relatively inexpensive. You can buy lots of that. Now, of course, you can go up to like buckshot as well. More pricey, you can use it for hunting, definitely a longer range. But if we're talking about simply just home defense, especially if you look at like the Mossberg 88, fantastic shotgun. It's perfect for the home defense situation. Next up, I picked the 9mm. You're looking at usually around 25 to 50 yards. And you go up to 100 yards, depending on how much you practice and train with it. It's definitely not unlikely. Now, there's the old argument. Should I go with a 9mm or should I go with like a 40 or 45? I get it. I mean, the 40 and 45 have a lot of stopping power. But since the rounds are so much larger, you can only fit so many into the magazine. I picked the 9mm. You can fit a lot more rounds in the magazine. I mean, you can get the hollow point, which is always going to give you a little bit more stopping power. That's always good. But I always think about it this way. For a lot of people, not everybody, I'm not insulting anybody, but for a lot of people who say, oh, I want the 40 or the 45, don't even train tactically, because understand that when you are in a situation where you're moving, your target's moving, your adrenaline's flowing, you're excited, all those rounds, you want to make them count. But a lot of people would simply just start unloading their rounds and suddenly, they're out of ammo. At least with a 9mm, you could, practically speaking, have almost twice as many rounds. So that way it increases your chances drastically of hitting your target. That's one of the reasons I am a 9mm guy. How about a 22 LR? This range up to 150 yards. And do not underestimate the 22. It is absolutely deadly. Now, what's beautiful about a 22, I don't care if you're talking about a handgun or a rifle, it is relatively quiet compared to the other ones. And you can buy literally giant buckets full of rounds for, cheaper than other rounds. I'm not going to say it's going to be cheap by any means, but that's an option too, is a 22. I find that there's a lot of older people who don't want a lot of kick. The 22 is the one that you're going to want to pick. Of course, the 5.56 and 2.23, effective up to around 500 yards, maybe more. And personally, I love these rounds. It is one of the major components that I look at as far as like stockpiling rounds. Definitely good to go. And what's nice about that is, let's say your 223 or 5.56 gets destroyed or whatever the case may be, gets stolen. There's so many of them around. And if you have a lot of extra ammo, there's a good chance you're going to be able to, obviously obtain another rifle. But the biggest thing about it, super accurate and extremely dependable. So very good thumbs up on that one. A 308, around 800 to 1,000 yards, maybe more. Great for the military and for us civilians, also great for defense, and fantastic for a hunting round too. Long range especially really makes that happen. Now, the 308 is really the same thing as the 7.65 for NATO round. A little bit differences, but anyways, if you have a 308, you can use those NATO rounds, which is a big thing, and it's been around since the 50s, so there's tons of those rounds available, and tons of the different types of rifles for that as well. And finally, my baby, the 6.5 Creedmoor. We're looking at, it's still supersonic at over 1,200 yards. This thing goes really far. So much so that SOCOM, the Military Special Forces, has adopted a lot of the 6.5 Creedmoor. It's super accurate, just a pleasure to shoot. It's a fantastic round. If you haven't jumped on this bandwagon, I would certainly seriously consider it, because I love it for my long-range rifling. All right, so many recommendations. You have other ones too. Put in the comments below. Those are the 6 I have, but we need to look at the bad news. 3 bad news is, by the way, that we need to look at, especially when it comes to rounds. Shortages are coming. You need to know the shortages are coming. So this right now, this price decrease and lots of ammo on the shelf is not going to last. First off, there's a worldwide powder shortage going on right now. And of course, that will start hindering American markets soon. Second, if you didn't know, this is an election year. Prices of ammo, at the very least, always goes way up. It skyrockets during this time. So in just a matter of a couple months, you're about to see it going up. Third, speculation here, but I think it's going to happen. World War III is looming. And with this, of course, we've even seen some National Guard units being called up. If it erupts, goodbye ammunition, goodbye rounds. It's going to be very difficult because it's all going to be used for other stuff. So keep that in mind, because when we actually saw World War II, there were shortages and rationing for everything. Rounds and ammunition is going to be the huge thing that's going to be rationed in the coming World War III. I mean, just remember the shortage in 2020, and it's going to be far worse than that. All right. Anyway, guys, thanks for stopping in. Put your favorite round in the comments below, and we'll see you tomorrow.